All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Here's the next installment of our flip video. This is going to be all about reproduction. So like this cartoon says, the reproduction is pretty complicated in terms of its detail and the processing. So we'll give you the content and then we'll tackle it all soon, so hopefully you'll understand it all. So we're going to break it down to two parts, male and female. And we're going to tackle the male today. So what we're going to look at for the male, first of all, is, let's get the pen up and running here. The first part is going to be the pathway of the sperm. Then we're going to dive into the function of the seminal fluid. And then finally, the most in-depth one is the hormone regulation. And by far, this will be a lot more basic than the female hormone regulation, which is really complicated. I won't say any jokes about that. All right, so let's start with, first of all, what is the sperm, what it looks like. So it's divided into three parts. The first part is the head. It has 23 chromosomes, which occurred through meiosis. And it has something called acrosome, which is just digestive enzymes, which are used to break through the egg. The next part is the makepiece. Mitochondria produces ATP. This sperm cell is going to need a lot of energy to get where it's going. And then finally, the tail, which is used for movement. To propel it into the direction where it wants to go. So the next thing is that this is where sperm is actually produced. It's produced in the seminiferous tubules, which is inside the testes, which is inside a piece of skin, which is the scrotum. Once it's been produced, it needs to start moving. It moves into the epididymis, which is just a spot where the sperm matures. It starts leading away from the epididymis and the testes in something called the vas deferens, which is just a tubule that's used to direct it where it needs to go. And then finally, before it exits, it actually passes by three accessory glands. Just like in digestion, we have accessory organs, the pancreas, the gallbladder, and the liver. Well, these ones have accessory organs as well, or accessory glands. Seminal vesicles, which there are two. Prostate gland and the Cowper's gland, which there are also two. So what we're going to do is talk about those in a little bit more detail in a second. But once it passes by those, it picks up some secretions, which we'll talk about in a second, and then it passes through the urethra inside the penis and out the opening. So here's a little video to trace the steps, as long as it'll work perfectly for us. Okay, so let's talk about the functions of those glands. They produce seminal fluid, and there's two seminal vesicles. one prostate gland and two Cowper's glands. So let's see if this pen will work for me this time. I think we're good. So all three of them are going to be producing a fluid. So fluid for all of them. Fluid, fluid. But what's in that fluid is specific. So this seminal vesicles produce fructose, which is used in energy production, and also prostaglandins. And the spelling, if that's not legible, will be down below in a second. Prostaglandin also produces citrate, which is used in the citric acid cycle in biology, where, again, it helps to break down our foods and produce energy. And then also the Cowper's gland produces bicarbonate, which helps to get the right pH. So the first part, so the whole point of all the seminal fluid in general, we'll keep it packaged together, is that it provides a basic environment for the sperm. So why is that important? It counteracts the acidity of the female uterus. So if it's acidic, it's not going to work properly, and the sperm won't be able to provide or perform the function it needs to. The next thing, like we said before, it's prostaglandin. It's a lipid-based, and what these things do is it causes uterine contractions. And if the uterus contracts, it helps propel the sperm towards the eggs. So it causes. And then we talked about fructose. It's used in glycolysis, and it helps to break down glucose. So end result, ATP, energy. And then the citrate is used in the citric acid cycle, which helps to break down fats, carbs, and proteins to produce energy. So we'll say ATP again. Both these concepts are super complicated. If you guys keep going on biology, you'll find that out in biology, second year biochem. But I might show you a little piece on it tomorrow just so you can see how intricate it is. Okay, so hormone regulation, we only have a few more minutes left. Hormone regulation, most complicated part. If you look at this, do I have a picture? No. So the hormone starts in the hypothalamus, which is in the brain. So we start with our hypothalamus. And what it does is it secretes a chemical or hormone called gonadotrophic releasing hormone. We shorthand it as GnRH. And what that GnRH does is it stimulates another gland to produce specific hormones. And what that gland is, it's called the anterior pituitary. We shorthand it as ANPIT, which is right here. And then anterior pituitary produces two hormones. It produces FSH and LH. As you can see here, FSH is called follicle stimulating hormone. By definition, it says it stimulates the follicle. Another way to think about that is that it promotes the production of sperm in the testes, more specifically in the seminiferous tubules. So follicle stimulating hormone causes sperm to be produced. LH is called luteinizing hormone. This causes testosterone to be produced, and that's in the interstitial cells of the testes. So we'll see a picture of that in a second. So this one increases sperm production, and this one increases testosterone. And one thing here too is when you produce a certain amount of testosterone, it actually has the ability to cause the hypothalamus to stop working. So if you're getting testosterone levels too high, it'll tell it to stop shutting it down. So it's a negative feedback loop. So running out of time here, cross-section. So this is a cross-section of a rabbit testicle. Ouch. The large ones are called, these are part of the seminiferous tubules. And these small triangle shapes, these are the interstitial tubules, or interstitial cells. So these ones here is where sperm's produced. These ones is where the testosterone is. Okay, so let's finish off with just talking about testosterone. It's a steroid, as we know from before, made in the smooth ER, and it brings about and maintains our secondary sex characteristics. So for guys, this is deeper voice, body and facial hair, muscle development, and also oils, acne, and sweat. So they're stinky and they have acne. So here's an example of our feedback loop. So we have our hypothalamus, which is going to release GnRH into the anterior pituitary. it causes LH and FSH to be produced. LH goes into the interstitial cells to produce testosterone. FSH goes into your testes, which is going to produce sperm. Once testosterone is produced, it's either going to go and produce secondary sex characteristics, or if it's too high, it shuts down this whole process. So here's what you need to know. So double check these. Every single one of these you should be able to do after the video. If you can't, go back, watch it again, look over your notes, and we're going to be jumping into these things. So at this point, after tomorrow, you should be able to do these things and understand the functions. So hope that helps. Make sure you fill in your comment and your questions, and we'll discuss them tomorrow. Thank you very much. And no.